The truth is, you'll never forget your true heroes. Something that you probably don't know is right now I'm back in Boston, my hometown, and unfortunately, my friend died. I came back for a funeral, and it was very, very sudden. And surprisingly, don't get me wrong, I miss him. I'm sad. Part of me is sad at least. But also, there's a side of me that is really, really grateful. And I want to share someone who was so pivotal in my life. And I'm sure you watching this, you probably had people in your life who really impacted you, especially in your 20s, that we just take for granted. And to be honest, sometimes you just don't know that they're your superheroes until they're gone. And today I just kind of want to share the story of one of my superheroes. Was he perfect? Absolutely not. He was human. Heroes are human too. But I wanted to share what made this person so special in my life. And hopefully you can find, will help you realize who your heroes are and let them know that you actually care about them before it's too late and they're gone. Chapter 1, meeting my role model.
But I think it's important we go way back in time, back when I didn't have this facial hair, back when I had hair, and give you context about who this person was and how I met my first superhero that was so pivotal to me, who really changed my life. And plus, I want to get this cam shot in. How do you like it? I might do a whole vlog with this camcorder. Anyways.
So I just got caught by the security guard and he wasn't too happy that I was recording. Anyways, got me a coffee. Oftentimes you'll meet the role models in your life and you won't even know that they're role models. When I think of my role model, my buddy, Rambo, I thought about 3 things. Tattoos, S2000s, and that Crest Kid smile. And if you're like me and grew up in like the 2000s, that immediately signals like, oh, this guy is a diu zhai, as we say in Chinese, ABC Chinese, or a boy, or ABB. It's probably like a Kevin Win. And I remember I was at my nerdy WPI engineering school. I was doing my undergrad at the time, and my friends were playing Street Fighter, but I was like, that's cool and all. Like I used to play Street Fighters in games, but I really wanted to go out and stuff. And I think at the time I was like really chronically depressed. I would go hang out with the Vietnamese people back in, like, go to house parties, go clubbing, just try to escape the area. And then my friend was like, yo, my cousin's coming through. And I was like, your cousin? And this guy pulls up in his S2000. And at the time I was like, ooh, the S2000's pretty nice. And this guy, he steps up, beautiful smile, lit up the room. And he was like, hey, what's going on? My name's Rambo. I'm like, oh my God, Rambo? Like, that's such a cool name. Like, what kind of Asian kid names their kid Rambo? Apparently, his dad really loved the movie and named him Rambo. And guess what? This guy, he's part of the US Army too. Little did I know that this was the role model that I really needed in my 20s. Because get this, back in the day, I didn't have any strong role models. Like, my dad wasn't really in my life too much. Never really taught me about like leadership, being masculine, or all these dad things, right? Like no one taught me how to shave. I had to learn how to shave myself and all that. I had to learn how to tie my own tie. Like, it's like all these things that I wish I had growing up. But Rambo, he was the type of person where when you went into a room, he just lit up the whole room. It was hard to get mad at Rambo. And he just had this instant loving energy, and you could immediately sense this trust with him, right? And like, I think like a week or 2 after meeting him, I was like, oh man, this guy is really cool. And then we go out to places like Texas Roadhouse, and he would always have his routine, right? When there's like pretty girls and stuff, he would always have a routine. He would have like these tattoos, he would show off his tattoos. He had 2 tattoos in Viet saying like, be happy. I don't know, it was like be happy, smile, or something like that. I can't remember, I'm probably butchering it. But he would have his routine and girls would just swoon over him. And what kind of 20-year-old wouldn't want that kind of lifestyle? And I think like maybe a month or 2 later, after meeting Rambo, his true character came out, where his dad was diagnosed with some sort of liver cancer and needed a transplant. And Rambo, no hesitation, just offered himself on the operating table, and he was just like, take my liver, take part of my liver, and he donated his liver to his dad. And I remember visiting at the hospital, we walked in, I asked his cousin Yen to hold on to this balloon, And I don't know, he lets go of it and the balloon's floating away. I'm like, what the hell? And then we lose the get well balloon. But I remember visiting Rambo, all smiles and just no regret. And that was the type of guy that Rambo was, very selfless. He was always prepared. He taught me how to, like, because of him, I always have a bag ready to go just to leave at any time. And there's all these like really army things that every guy should know, and Rambo played that role for me. Jokingly, I always used to call him Dad because he would teach me things like, oh, how to clean up, how to look really presentable, how to take care of yourself. But you know, we meet a lot of these people in our lives that are really cool. Maybe they come into our life and they're inspirational, they're there, but that doesn't make them a good role model. And this is what made, the next part actually is what made Rambo really stand out to me. But let's change spots. Now, when I think about really strong role models, I think beyond just being there. So let's go back to my first year of pharmacy school during my sad boy era. My ex just broke up with me and I was really, really depressed. Just for context, this was the girl I thought, I don't know if I was going to marry. The previous girl I thought I was going to marry, but I ended up dating this like kind of ABG-esque girl before ABGs were really a thing. And I was really, really heartbroken. She broke up with me because I mentioned that, I don't know, for a few different reasons. I think she just fell out. She was just like turning 21 at the time. I was probably like 23, 22, something like that. I was pretty young. I was really, really heartbroken, and I actually got, believe it or not, Jersey Shore was a big thing back then, and I got us a place in New York, and I wanted to go Seaside Heights to just hang out with her. And when she broke up with me, I couldn't cancel. And so I was like, crap, what am I gonna do with this? So of course, I hit up my friend Jeff in one of the pictures that you'll see. I'll pop it up here. And then I also hit up my buddy Rambo. And something about Rambo, he was like very, very spontaneous. He's traveled all over the world. But even if he didn't know you that well, he would come out and visit you. And he wasn't like a people pleaser or anything like that. Like, we've had a relationship because I used to be really, really good. I was really good, close friends with his cousin. I would take care of him. And something Rambo said from the very, very beginning when I first met him was like, hey, Kevin, thank you so much for taking care of my cousin. Just know that I've always got your back, brother. And that really, really meant a lot to me. And so I was like, shoot, maybe I'll ask Rambo to come out to New York. And I remember he drove all the way from Worcester to New York. So that's like about a 3-hour drive in his S2000, pulls up, meets me at the hotel, and we grabbed Kyo-chan. And it's like one of those things that's happened so long ago, it's like 10 years ago. If you don't know what Kyo-chan is, it's like Korean fried chicken. And we had a father-son moment, and he was telling me like, you know, his heartbreak stories, how he once got engaged and how a girl broke it off with him, and how he's been cheated on. And he didn't try to fix anything. He was just like, you know, we'll get through this together. And sometimes, just as a good friend, you don't really need a solution because we're all smart enough a lot of times to figure out things by ourselves. But sometimes you just need that person to reassure us that we're all okay. And I remember looking so scrubby. I didn't even do my hair. That's how depressed I was. I used to always do my hair. And that whole night, he was just there as a really, really good friend and just supported me when I was really sad. We ended up meeting one of my friends, Mio, and we ended up karaokeing that whole night. It was such a fun moment. Just vibing to 2000s music, Backstreet Boys, and all that sort of stuff. And then I remember this whole night, Rambo was trying to help Mio get this like lychee, like the single lychee out of the bottle. Just trying to do that, and just like, we even grabbed chicken and rice after too. Having someone just be there. As someone who's been cheated on, like ignored, used, and abused, I mean, I don't really have a great track history. A lot of it is actually my fault for not screening properly. But at that age, when I was like 25, 24, just seeing someone just drop everything just for me really made me feel seen, made me feel special. And I remember Rambo, he would always call me after too. And that's why I always called him Dad, because I had to go to him for like dad advice and stuff. That moment just really sticks out to me and just says a lot about his character and who he was. And again, course, in New York, the women were all swooning over him again. But Rambo wasn't perfect. Sometimes we forget that even our heroes or our role models go through too. And this is the next chapter. As I got older, as I graduated pharmacy school, we'd meet up, we'd go to Texas Roadhouse every once in a while. But then came a period of my life where I had to move on. I ended up moving to LA, as you guys know, lived in a YouTube house and all that. And we only saw each other during major events like weddings. I went to his wedding, to our friends' weddings, and we had this little group that we called our little family. And what was really cool about that was like we had mom, we had brother, sister, and we actually had a little family. Every single time I saw him, he would just be good vibes, and whenever I was going through a tough time, we would chat. But then actually came a really dark time in my life where my father passed away, as you guys know that story. And again, Rambo was always there. He was the person that was like, I've always got your back. And whatever you need, like if you need a chat, you need anything, you need a place to crash, he was always there. And it really felt like a father figure in my life. He also had a dark period where, of course, as you guys know, he went on a few deployments to Afghanistan. He enlisted into our army after 9/11. He had his period of PTSD, and he was really struggling with his mental health and everything going on there. And he needed help with his meds. And me being a pharmacist, me working at the VA, I just helped him out with what I knew. Even at his lowest moments, and during this time when he would call me and just want to talk, and I was there for them. And even after he went through that dark phase in his life, he'd always remind me of the smallest things and be appreciative of like, hey Kevin, I just want to thank you for that time, that dark time in my life where you really helped me out with my meds, and you were someone that was there, and I just want to thank you for that. Every single time he would remind me of that, every single time he would remind me of taking care of his cousin. That was kind of like a period of my life where I actually for once felt like unconditional love from someone outside my family. It's not the first time, but very, very memorable. And we had this relationship even until even just a few months ago when I was driving jiu-jitsu. We were catching up on life. He was having a new baby girl. He had a baby son. We visited him at Rhode Island. I was actually supposed to see him literally last month. Something crazy happened that I would have never expected whatsoever. And now we get into the dark era of why I'm here. Just the other week, I got the call from his cousin that Rambo is no longer here. He passed away. And I'd rather not get into the details of how he passed. I think we can just put things together and just make an assumption. Not gonna lie, I felt so heartbroken just knowing that this person who meant so much in my 20s, who was like my father figure, or older brother, more like, was now gone. And it was very, very sudden. But the truth is just like, I miss him. And I didn't think I would lose a friend. You know, all friendships, all relationships, they end, whether we pass away, we choose to end them. But I just didn't think it would be this soon. And it bugs me so much that I could have saw him. I don't beat myself up, because we talked a lot. But it bugs me so much that I could have saw him last month if I didn't catch COVID and get sick. Obviously, I didn't want to get his kids sick. Knowing that person who was so pivotal in my life is gone now. It taught me a really, really important lesson that, you know, it's important not to idolize our heroes. Everyone is fighting a battle that you can't see. And so I made the decision to come back to not only support his family, but also honor my commitment of letting him know I always have his back, even in death. Sounds a little dramatic, but it's true. You know, as I was reflecting on all the photos and going through all our memories of like dad fixing my tie at weddings and all the positive things that Rambo did for me. And Rambo, if you're listening to this, I just want to let you know, I have always got your back, brother. I love you. And if there's someone like Rambo in your life, it's important just to let them know how much you care for them and love them before it's too late. It's kind of crazy. As we get older, I realize that We used to meet up all the time just for dinner when we were closer together. Then came to weddings, which was every few years, sometimes the holidays, and now we get together at a funeral. And it's really, really sad. As I was saying goodbye to Rambo at the cemetery, I was like, man, bro, thank you for everything. Seriously, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for everything. And I'm just gonna miss you. I'm all cried out this weekend. I am exhausted. Even after Rambo's gone, it just really, really inspired me to up my game, to like become the ABB fuckboy. Maybe I'll get his 2 tattoos, be happy, be healthy, and work on my crest smile. But, you know, it really inspires me to just be a better role model, be there for people like yourself, and just leave a positive imprint on the world, just like Rambo did in mine. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later. Take care. Peace.